Luffy's abilities, One Piece. Monkey D. Luffy, also known as Straw Hat Luffy and commonly as Straw Hat, is the main protagonist of the manga and anime One Piece. He's the founder and captain of the increasingly infamous and powerful Straw Hat Pirates, as well as one of its top fighters. His lifelong ability is to become the Pirate King by finding the legendary treasure left behind by the late Gol D. Roger. He believes that being the Pirate King means having the most freedom in the world. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over Luffy's abilities. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media accounts. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. As the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy has the greatest authority over an increasingly powerful and diverse crew consisting of several infamous members, many of whom are extremely powerful in their own right. Luffy has a great amount of influence over his crew, so much so that the members of his crew all trust him with their lives, both in spite of his reckless behavior and, in some cases, even because of it. He's also one of the 12 pirates who have become dubbed as the Worst Generation, a group of individuals who have become famous for the bold actions and major conflicts they committed against the world government, and all have bounties over 100 million belly. Indirectly, he also has claim over the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, a massive fleet consisting of 7 powerful New World crews numbering 5,600 people in total, who all swore to serve under him of their own will and come to assist him whenever he may need them. The scope of Luffy's authority is considered by the world government to be close to on par with the 4 emperors, the 4 most powerful and influential pirates in the world, and Luffy has officially been considered by the press to be the 5th emperor as a result. This is one of the reasons Luffy is considered by the world government to be extremely dangerous and currently has a bounty of 1,500,000,000 belly, which is surpassed by only a known few alive and deceased, all belonging to the current 4 emperors of the sea, Whitebeard, and Gol D. Roger themselves. Luffy has exhibited his threat most notably by invading all 3 of the world government's main strongholds in Paradise. He defeated at least 1,000 Marines on Enies Lobby by himself and took out 2 CP9 agents, with the invasion ultimately resulting in the destruction of Enies Lobby via Buster Call. He infiltrated the Great Prison Impel Down and orchestrated the only mass breakout in its history. He invaded Marineford during the Summit War of Marineford and greatly aided the Whitebeard pirates in their ultimately unsuccessful effort to rescue Portgas D Ace from execution. Luffy has also significantly threatened the balance of the 3 great powers by defeating 3 members of the 7 Warlords of the Sea, Crocodile, Gecko Moria, Don Quixote do Flamingo, and allying with 2 others which caused Jinbei to defect from his position and Trafalgar Law to lose his. The world government also views Luffy to be a grave threat simply because he's the son of Monkey D. Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Despite his ever-growing list of accomplishments in battle, Luffy continues to be frequently underestimated by opponents due to his appearance and disposition. These oftentimes ultimately prove to be an advantage for him, as it gives him the leeway towards options opponents would not expect. Crocodile left Luffy for dead twice, only for Luffy to recover from his defeats and ultimately claim victory in their 3rd match. Don Quixote do Flamingo attempted to trap Luffy in the Corrida Coliseum, expecting that he would fall victim in it, only for Luffy to escape and win over the gladiators there to his side. With constantly improving skill in battle combined with his almost unbreakable willpower, Luffy has found ways to defeat increasingly powerful opponents that have come in his path, all while having been out at sea for less than a year, not including his 2-year training under Sukaina. Currently in the New World, he has contended with the 4 Emperor's top commanders, having defeated Big Mom Pirates Sweet Commanders Charlotte Cracker and Charlotte Katakuri, and he seeks to aim further by taking down the 4 Emperors themselves as well as the Marine Admirals. During the raid on Onigashima, Luffy's recently heightened mastery of advanced Busoshoku and Haoshoku Haki has allowed him to face Kaido of the 4 Emperors in roughly equal footing. Strength. Despite his relatively small physical stature compared to most of the world's powerful fighters, Luffy has developed significant physical strength to match them. His grandfather Garp used harsh and unorthodox training methods to make him grow stronger, such as leaving him alone in the wilderness as a young child, making him fight monkeys, tying him to balloons so he would float away, or throwing him into a bottomless pit, as well as several years of further rigorous training in the extremely harsh environment in Mount Kulabo and Rusukaina. A notable example of this strength was on Dressrosa when he used his foot to block a stomp by Don Quixote do Flamingo, a man nearly twice his height with immense physical power of his own, without any leverage. Earlier that day, he had effortlessly flipped over the massive gladiator Spartan, defeating him. In Skypia, he was capable of moving around during his fight against Enel, despite having a massive golden ball molded around his hand, and even climbed up a massive beanstalk with it. When caught between two large brick buildings in Water 7, he was eventually able to push them apart to free himself. Even in a severely weakened state after his calamitous battle at Marineford, Luffy was still able to cause massive destruction on Amazon Lily and lift a boulder several times larger than himself with enough force to destroy a nearby rock formation. Luffy has utilized his Devil Fruit gears to tremendously increase his physical strength and subdue powerful opponents like Bluno, Rob Lucci, and Don Quixote do Flamingo. He took out a member of the Marines' giant squad with a single gear third punch, and 2 years later he defeated the powerful giant Haruden with a single gear second punch to the face. On Fishman Island, the Sea Kings believed he would have completely destroyed the gigantic ship Noah before it would have landed had they not stopped him. When he was imprisoned in Wano country, he wore sea stone handcuffs that significantly weakened him and prevented him from using his Devil Fruit. And he exploited his prison labor as a new training method to get stronger in his weakened state, being able to lift and carry hundreds of blocks several times his size. And a few days later was able to break through the helmet of the Vice Warden Daifugo and injure him with a simple kick. Luffy is also capable of becoming physically stronger through psychology. When Django accidentally hypnotized him to become stronger, Luffy went on a tear through the Black Hat pirates and ripped the stem and figurehead off their ship. During the Babyback fight battle against Foxy, Luffy attempted to increase his fighting prowess by donning an afro. Speed and agility. Luffy possesses tremendous speed, agility, and reflexes. When he fought Bluno and Rob Lucci on Enies Lobby, Luffy was able to keep up with their incredibly fast Soru movements even without using a massive speed boost of Gear second form. When battling Dracula Mihawk in the Summit War of Marineford, he was able to dodge the strikes of the world's greatest swordsman, including ducking under one that completely cleaved through a faraway glacier. After his 2-year training, he was able to dodge attacks even while using Gear 3rd. He was able to avoid being attacked by Cavendish in the Corrida Coliseum by dodging the pirate's sword strikes and clasping the sword in his hands. Against Charlotte Katakuri, he showed the ability to dodge a considerable amount of the Sweet Commander's strikes, as well as all of Katakuri's attacks with his trident Mogura, barring one in which Luffy was impaired by Flampei's dart, despite Katakuri being able to foresee his movements. When he confronted Kaido and Big Mom in Onigashima, Luffy was able to move past the Emperors in the blink of an eye so he can talk to Kinemon behind him. Luffy being able to see into the future with his Kenbunshoku Haki aids his dodging ability considerably, and during his fight with Kaido on Onigashima, Luffy managed to partially dodge Kaido's Raimei Haki attack despite the Emperor being capable of moving at near blinding speed. Earlier, Luffy had been powerless to avoid that strike. Durability. Luffy has shown the ability to take massive amounts of physical punishment but still remain conscious and able to fight. As a child, Luffy was brutally beaten by Porshemi's spiked gloves to get information out of him, but Luffy took the beating without revealing anything. He was poisoned in Arabasta Kingdom by Crocodile's poison hook, but remained conscious long enough to defeat the Warlord. He took multiple blows from Foxy's spiked gloves, but didn't fall. Most notably, during his fight with Charlotte Katakuri in the Mirror World, Luffy fought for over 9 hours and received significantly more blows than he gave, including being gruesomely pierced in the side by Katakuri's trident Mogura. But he was able to keep standing up until Katakuri went down. During his first encounter with Kaido, the Emperor's might was so immense that he could knock out Luffy with a single strike of his mace. However, after training in the prisoner mine and confronting Kaido again, Luffy managed to emerge conscious and without serious injury after being partially struck by the same attack. Eventually, he becomes able to take hits from Kaido without being knocked out. After surviving being poisoned by Magellan, Luffy developed an immunity to most poisons, causing him to be unaffected when Caesar Clown attacked him with poisonous gases. However, he did later fall victim to poison after consuming the skin of the armored stonefish, though the skin normally caused instant death. Luffy's poison resistance merely put him in a coma. Despite that incident, he seemed to be quite proud of his immunity. When he witnessed Queen's Excite bullets, he claimed they wouldn't work on him. However, Chopper needed to treat him later on. Endurance. Luffy possessed immense endurance stemming from his great durability and willpower. As a child, he developed endurance when his grandfather put him through various training methods. When following Ace on a long and dangerous trek from Mount Kolobo to Great Terminal, he accompanies Ace and Sabo on their adventures through the wilderness. By far, his most noteworthy feat was surviving exposure to an incurable amount of poison after fighting Magellan in Impel Down. When brought before Emporio Ivankov, Luffy was given hormones to give him the chance to fight for his life for 2.5 days at the cost of his lifespan. He not only successfully fought to stay alive, but returned to consciousness in just 20 hours. By doing this, he proved his connection to his father, who has a similar will. With the help of Ivankov's tension hormones and his willpower, Luffy was able to keep fighting through Impel Down immediately after his near-death experience, and continued fighting at Marineford with little rest in between until his body eventually gave out after he failed to save Ace from death. In Enies lobby, Luffy pulled off another feat of endurance, as although he quickly pushed his limits by repeatedly using Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd, and was heavily injured by Lucci's Rokuogan attacks, he was able to keep fighting until he had defeated Lucci. Luffy also demonstrated his endurance at Whole Cake Island as he battled Charlotte Cracker for 11 hours without resting, using Gear 4th at least twice. He then proceeded to get heavily beaten by his crewmate Sanji, but when a Big Mom Pirates army arrived soon after to take him down, Luffy fought hard for a considerable period of time before ultimately being knocked out. After being temporarily frozen in time in a book prison, Luffy single-handedly made his way out of a Whole Cake Chateau and beat up every enemy he encountered, despite still being extremely weak from fatigue and hunger, the latter of which he refused to address until Sanji returned to him. Another testament to his endurance was that he was stabbed by Charlotte Katakuri's trident in their fight, but still got back on his feet to continue the battle. At Udon, Luffy was able to continue fighting while he was infected with Queen's Mummy disease. After being knocked out by Kaido's Kosanze Ragnaraku in his base form, he got back up after a few moments. Luffy's immense willpower was also seen in Thriller Bark when his body was able to take in 100 shadows without issue, while a normal person could only take in 2 or 3. Instinct. Normally, Luffy can be prone to making bad decisions, however, while fighting, he possesses an uncanny instinct that has often resulted in him performing atypical actions that end up helping him. When confronted by multiple duplicates of Mr. 3 on Little Garden, Luffy was instantly able to find and attack the real one, thanks entirely to instinct. When his arm got bitten while fighting Arlong, Luffy slammed the fishman's head into the ground to dislodge his jaw instead of trying to pull his arm out, which allowed his arm to remain intact. To overcome Enel foreseeing his attacks with Mantra, Luffy used moves such as shutting down his mind and throwing his punches off walls to ricochet them randomly, which ended up being successful. Against Cracker, Luffy taxed the Sweet Commander's power by eating his never-ending biscuit creations. Luffy has excellent situational awareness during battle. While fighting Mihawk on Marineford, he noticed Buggy nearby and used them as a human shield, allowing him to run away from Mihawk. When he fought Katakuri on the Thousand Sunny on Toto Island, he noticed Charlotte Brûlé watching from the Mirror World and managed to grab onto her by surprise, allowing to pull himself and Katakuri into the Mirror World and prevent Katakuri from threatening his crew. Luffy also possesses tremendous creativity and frequently comes up with unusual methods to get ahead in his fight. In his first fight with Crocodile, Luffy noticed that he could make his opponent's body tangible with liquid. And before their second fight, he consumed large quantities of water to use against the Warlord. He took it a step further in their third and final fight by using his blood as the liquid. When possible, Luffy likes to power himself up with outside objects and often uses things from the enemy against them. He knocked out a set of Arlong's teeth and tried to use them, although was not particularly successful. When Mr. 3 bound his arms and legs with candle-shaped wax bindings, Luffy immediately began using these bindings as powerful blunt weapons to demolish Mr. 3's other wax creations. When he became allies with Mr. 3 and Impel Down, Luffy requested that he be powered up with the wax once again to fight Magellan, and he was successfully able to hit the Warden without being poisoned. Charisma. Luffy possesses a notable ability to recruit allies to his side everywhere he goes, which Dracula Mihawk describes as the most dangerous ability in the world. Luffy is capable of making friends rather quickly, and people typically have to do little for Luffy to consider them as a friend, such as Rebecca, who earned Luffy's friendship by buying him food. Although Luffy doesn't fancy himself a hero, he'll do anything to help his friends, which can earn him the respect of people around him, as seen with the Whitebeard pirates being impressed with his desire to save Ace in Marineford. Luffy is not afraid to take audacious actions to help himself and his friends, and his fearlessness is another key to gaining allies. Before Jinbei met Luffy, he initially had no intention of building a relationship with him, only wanting to accompany him through Impel Down and Marineford to appease Ace's wishes. However, after getting to know Luffy, Jinbei quickly developed a deep respect for him, and risked his life to get Luffy out of Marineford safely. 2 years later, he would join Luffy's crew. Bo Hancock, who hates all men, took a liking to and soon after fell in love with Luffy after finding out that he had attacked a world noble. On Dressrosa, once the Corridor Coliseum gladiators were liberated from Doflamingo's and Sugar's enslavement, they rallied behind Luffy's crusade against Doflamingo, and Luffy's determination to bring down the Warlord eventually earned him the support of everyone in Dressrosa as they wished to be freed from Doflamingo's tyranny. Luffy curried enough favor in this effort that the allies he made went far beyond Dressrosa. 7 of the groups who fought with him pledged to serve him wherever he needs them, forming the massive Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Even people like Cavendish and Chinjao, who once wished to kill him, declared their servitude. When the prisoners inside the Udon prisoner mines had doubts about defeating Kaido even after Raizo and Kikunoju revealed themselves, Luffy managed to win them over. After his exploits at Marineford, Luffy became incredibly popular to the pirates of both halves of the Grand Line. The trickster Demaro Black was able to take advantage of this popularity to gather many powerful pirates under his supposed leadership by posing as Luffy. Devil Fruit. When he was 7 years old, Luffy unwittingly ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit. After finding it in a chest owned by the Red Hair Pirates, it gives his body the properties of rubber, allowing him to stretch, bounce, bend, twist, and inflate any part of his body. Initially, Luffy was unable to control his stretching, but was able to master it after 10 years of training on Dawn Island, and further master it during the 2 years he spent training with Silver's Rayleigh on Roscaina. He's able to stretch any part of his body. He can stretch his arms to extend the reach of his punches, stretch his legs to extend the reach of his kicks, and stretch his neck to extend the reach of his headbutt. Again, he's able to stretch any part of his body. Any part of his body. His stretching also allows him to reach faraway places, as he can stretch and grab onto something at that location and pull himself there. He can also use his stretched arms to launch himself like a slingshot. He can further enhance his attack power by twisting his body around each other and spinning them. Defensively, Luffy, being made of rubber, is completely immune to lightning. He also can't be harmed by blunt attacks not imbued with Busoshoku Haki, including punches, blunt weapons, and even being stepped on by gigantic opponents. If struck by blunt projectiles such as bullets or cannonballs, he can bounce them back towards the place it came from, potentially threatening the one who launched it. He can also easily survive falling from great heights. He can suck in a large amount of air to inflate his torso like a balloon. His inflated belly greatly enhances his rubbery defense and his ability to bounce things back. It also keeps him from sinking if he falls into the water. During his pirating adventures, Luffy has found new ways to utilize his devil fruit in combat, creating gears. Gear Second. Gear Second was first seen on Enies Lobby. Luffy increases the size of his blood vessels, causing his blood to flow more quickly and pumping more oxygen and nutrients through his body. This greatly increases his speed and power, as in this form, he's capable of keeping up with the users of the Soto technique and overwhelming the defensive capabilities Tekkai technique. Initially, Luffy activated this by pumping blood through his legs to activate the effect across his entire body, but after the time skip, he's shown to have more control over it and can activate any select part of his body. Before his 2-year training, the usage of Gear Second depleted his energy quickly and even threatened his lifespan, but in present day, its effects appear to have been reduced. By using a combination of Haki and Gear Second, Luffy's able to punch opponents with such speed and force that it causes his fist to ignite into a shroud of flames, which Luffy calls Red Hawk. By the time of the raid in Onigashima, his Red Hawk was strong enough that it forced Kaido, one of the strongest pirates in the world, who is renowned for his near indestructible body, to actually dodge the attack. Gear Third. Gear Third was first seen in Enies Lobby. By blowing a massive amount of air into his thumb, Luffy can inflate the bones of any particular part of his body, making it gigantic. These inflated body parts are capable of inflicting damage on a massive scale, being able to break through walls and large structures with ease. And Gear Third's power became magnified when Luffy learned to use Busoshoku Haki during the time skip. Initially, Gear Third would cause Luffy to shrink to the size of a child after its use, temporarily limiting his fighting capabilities until his body returned to normal. However, this no longer happens after Luffy's 2 years of training. Gear Fourth. Gear Fourth was created during Luffy's 2-year training on Roscaina, and was first seen on Dressrosa. By blowing into his arm, Luffy inflates the muscles in his entire body and covers it with Busoshoku Haki, taking one of 3 forms. The first form, Bound Man, makes his composition akin to a rubber ball, causing him to bounce all the time. Luffy's capable of retracting his arms and legs inside of his body, unleashing blows of devastating power, as well as being able to change the directions of his attacks. His defense also increases, with most attacks bouncing off his body. The second form, Tank Man, makes Luffy much bigger and increases his defensive abilities, allowing him to use them as a weapon via the recoil, blasting opponents away. The third form, Snake Man, is slimmer and focuses on offense, lacking the defensive capabilities of the other 2 forms. Luffy is granted a tremendous increase in attack speed, and frequently changes the directions of his attacks to assault his opponents from every direction. However, in addition to being weakened, he'll be unable to use Haki for 10 minutes until it recharges. Using Gear Fourth multiple times in a short amount of time will take a toll on his body. Haki. Luffy is among the small number of people in the world who can use all 3 types of Haki. Most notable, Silver's Rayleigh, Goldie Roger's first mate and right-hand man, instructed him during the 2-year time skip, who stated he has noticeable talent for Haki, having mastered the basics of all 3 types of Haki in only a year and a half. Even before finding out what Haki was, Blackbeard noted that his Haki had grown stronger by the time of the mass breakout in Impel Down compared to their first meeting in Jaya. Through fighting against and training with powerful Haki users in the New World, in addition to the Emperors themselves, Luffy strengthened each Haki to a greater degree and learned how to use their advanced applications. Haoshoku Haki. Luffy possesses Haoshoku Haki, a very rare type of Haki whose users are said to have the qualities of a king. This power was latent within him, and was first seen used at the Flying Fish Rider's base to stop the bison Motobaro. Luffy then unintentionally used it in the arena at Amazon Lily to stop Marguerite's crew from being killed, in level 5 of Impel Down to knock out attacking wolves, and at Marineford to knock out the executioners who were about to kill Ace, along with many elite marines and New World pirates. Silver Vele taught him about this power in Ruskaina, and Luffy trained to use it at will. After the time skip, Luffy used it to knock out the members of the fake Straw Hat crew, and not days later at Fishman Island, he was able to knock out 50,000 members of the new Fishman pirates in an instant. When he fought against fellow Haoshoku Haki user Chinjao, Don Quixote do Flamingo, and Charlotte Katakuri, their clashes created a notable effect similar to lightning. Even when unconscious, Luffy could still use Haoshoku Haki. After Kaido knocked him out, Luffy used Haoshoku Haki on some of the beast's pirates before they took him into custody. While fighting Kaido in Onigashima, Luffy came to understand that he could use his Haoshoku Haki to infuse his arms and legs and exponentially increase his attack power, becoming one of only a handful of Haoshoku users known to achieve this advanced technique. With this new skill, Luffy dramatically enhanced the destructive capabilities of the advanced Busoshoku Haki attacks that he recently learned, becoming capable of striking Kaido with immensely powerful blows without even making direct contact with the Emperor's body. Much like other people shown using this advanced application, thin streams of dark energy are shown emanating from Luffy's arms when he infuses them. However, due to having only understood it for a short time, his control over the ability is stated to be crude and clumsy by Kaido, and led to him being swiftly defeated by the Emperor after managing to briefly clash on equal ground with him. Not long after, when Luffy and Kaido clashed again, the two of them split the clouds in the sky with their conflicting Haoshoku, a feat previously only seen achieved when 2 of the 4 emperors fought each other. This may indicate that Luffy's Haki has ascended to the same level of that of the strongest pirates in the world. Kenbunshoku Haki. Luffy learned to use Kenbunshoku Haki during the 2-year time skip. With it, he's capable of sensing the presence, emotion, and intent of others, greatly aiding his ability to dodge attacks such as bullets. He's highly proficient at using this Haki. He can even predict attacks from beings with little to no emotion like Pacifista. He also casually dodged Hori's Yabusame, as well as volleys of thrown weapons from Jean Ango, a powerful master marksman. While in Toto Island, he significantly strengthened this Haki by battling Charlotte Katakuri, who had mastered this Haki enough to enable him to see a little bit into the future. After many hours of applying his Kenbunshoku Haki and pushing it to the limit, Luffy was able to visualize Katakuri's next moves extremely well as develop his Haki enough to dodge many of Katakuri's attacks and prevent Katakuri from dodging his. After leaving Toto Island, Luffy's been able to dodge attacks with even greater ease, as shown when he instantly took out a beast pirate scout in Wano country as soon as they began to try to attack him, and afterward dodged multiple strikes from the Sumer master Urashima without displaying any effort. By the time of his imprisonment in the prisoner mine in Udon, he has further developed his ability to see the future and can now see the short-term future as fluidly as Katakuri can, as shown when he instructed Hyogoro on how to dodge multiple attacks from Alpaca Man and Medio Man several seconds before they happened. He later stopped Warden Babanuki's Excite Shot attack before he initiated it, stating that he did it because he saw a terrible future. Busoshoku Haki. Luffy learned to use Busoshoku Haki during the 2-year time skip. He regularly uses it in combat in the New World to increase his defenses and attack power, and with it he's now able to strike Logia users, such as Caesar Clown, and those with powers similar to that of a Logia, like Katakuri. His Gear 4th form heavily uses Busoshoku Haki to the point of depleting it in a relatively short amount of time. And while in Gear 4th, his compressed Haki takes the shape of flames. In the New World, Busoshoku Haki has been a great boon to Luffy's power, as he's quite noticeably weakened whenever he's unable to use it. He had no hope of injuring Doflamingo while his Haki was recharging, and while his Haki was recharging on Nuts Island, he was unable to punch through Charlotte Prespero's candy wall, even with Gear 3rd. Luffy's Busoshoku Haki has the potential to be strengthened as he's faced opponents with a stronger caliber of Haki than him, such as Charlotte Cracker and Katakuri. Luffy's Busoshoku Haki further condensed while in Gear 4th, allowing Luffy to counter and break past both Cracker and Katakuri's extremely powerful Busoshoku Haki. While in Udon, Luffy started learning advanced Busoshoku Haki to bypass Kaido's tough scales after he recalled Rayleigh deflecting and harming an enormous elephant in Ruskaina without touching it. Amid his instruction to emit Haki a short distance, he inadvertently advanced to a higher grade of advanced Busoshoku Haki where he channels it into his target's body, thus letting him destroy them from the inside out. But it happened during a desperate attempt to tear Queen's death collars off of himself and Hyogoro. After relentless, non-stop training under Hyogoro's supervision for a week and striking a thick steel block using his hardened arms, Luffy could emit Busoshoku Haki at will, blasting a hole through a tree's opposite side by emitting Haki from his hardened fist. He later removed Yamato's explosive cuffs by destroying them from the inside out, showing conscious control over the higher grade Busoshoku Haki. During the battle on Onigashima, he advanced his Busoshoku Haki to where he could hurt Kaido using his hardened Gear 3rd, whereas he previously could not. Even while using Gear 4th, Additionally, his stronger Busoshoku made it so he was able to endure a hit from Kaido's Kanabo while he was in his standard form, and Kaido was in his human beast form, whereas he was previously defeated by a single strike from the Kanabo while he was in Gear 4th form and Kaido was in his human form, though Luffy's arms were hurt after blocking the blow. Although he successfully dealt damage to Kaido using advanced Busoshoku Haki, Luffy noted that it was only superficial. He later learned to supplement it with advanced Haoshoku Haki infusion to make his attacks tremendously more powerful. In the anime, when Luffy uses advanced Busoshoku Haki, it's shown as an orange-colored flowing aura. Techniques: Busoshoku, Koka. Luffy uses Busoshoku Haki to harden his body, or parts of it. It was used for the first time against the Kraken in conjunction with Gear 3rd to harden his enlarged arm to the point of it attaining a completely dark and shiny appearance in order to use his Gomu Gomu no elephant gun. Atama Buso. Luffy imbues his forehead with Busoshoku Haki to harden it. This is first used in preparation for a Gomu Gomu no Kane against the Iron Shell Squadron. Gear 2nd Buso. Luffy imbues his fist with Busoshoku Haki while under the effect of Gear 2nd to harden it, which also seems to have the added effect of igniting it. It was first used in preparation for Gomu Gomu no Red Hawk against Hody Jones. Gluttony. Notably, Luffy possesses massive jaw strength and a large appetite. Before being freed from the buggy pirate's cage, he made considerable progress in biting through the iron bars, and he also caught and destroyed one of Buggy's daggers with only his mouth. He was also able to cause Jinbei, a strong fishman with high pain tolerance, great pain by biting him. His extreme gluttony also proved useful in battle during Toto Island, as with the help of Nami's rain, he was able to eat Cracker Biscuit's soldiers to render them unusable, and his stomach was able to handle ingesting these biscuits for 11 hours. He also escaped from being suffocated in a massive pile of Katakuri's mochi by eating through the mochi. Luffy can also rapidly heal from his wounds and exhaustion by eating massive amounts of food, and he was able to regrow a missing tooth simply by drinking milk. He can also quickly heal himself by sleeping, and at Water 7, he became able to eat and sleep at the same time. Despite his gluttony, however, Luffy can't cook. While on the way to Whole Cake Island, he squandered the ship's entire week's worth of rations due to repeated mistakes, and the end result was a huge pot of inedible substance that tasted so horrible that he himself called it disgusting, and also led the people on board to badly starve as a result. Nonetheless, due to the intense survival training of his youth, Luffy is capable of roasting meat and has limited knowledge of edible flora, as seen when he was left alone on Amazon Lily and Ruskaina. Voice of all things. It's been implied that Luffy has the ability to hear the voice of all things, as the Sea Kings on Fishman Island sensed that he had picked up their voices, much like Gol D Roger once did. Luffy was also one of only 2 people, along with Kozuki Momonosuke, to be able to hear the voice of the giant elephant Zunesha, although he was overwhelmed by Zunesha's voice and unable to communicate with him, unlike Momonosuke. Luck. Luffy possesses a significant amount of luck. When offered an apple by Doc Q, he managed to pick the lone one that was a dud. During his second fight against Crocodile, he misfired a shot of water into the air, which ended up coming back down on him after he'd been dehydrated and saved his life. During Big Mom's tea party, Luffy and his comrades were narrowly saved from execution when the tamatebako, which he and the citizens of Fishman Island had sent to Big Mom after being unable to provide her with candy as a result of the fight against the new Fishman pirates, exploded and tipped over the entire Whole Cake Chateau. His gamble in offering Speed Thomas Kibidango proved to be a key element in the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance's fight against the Beast Pirates and their allies. Most notably, he survived being executed by Buggy thanks to the execution platform being struck by a bolt of lightning, which didn't harm Luffy due to his Devil Fruit ability. Artistic skill. A running gag is Luffy's utter lack of artistic ability. Before reaching Arlong Park, imagining how a fishman would look, Luffy drew a fish with tentacle-like paws and an anthropomorphic fish with arms and legs and hair. Before the Straw Hats arrived at Water 7, Luffy drew a childish picture of what he wanted the future shipwright to look like. Coincidentally, it resembled Frankie. This lack of skill also extends to Jolly Rogers. The first Jolly Roger of the Straw Hat Pirates was a bad drawing designed by Luffy himself. He later used a similarly bad drawn version of his Jolly Roger as a promise marker on the face of Laboon, while also drawing a bad version of Foxy's flag after taking it from him after winning the Davy Back fight. Situational forms. Afro Luffy. During the Long Ring Long Land arc, Luffy had to face Foxy the Silver Fox in the final event, Combat. Beforehand, he got to choose what he would wear for the fight. Usopp, who was with him, spotted a big black afro and had Luffy wear it. Thus, Afro Luffy was born. Usopp claims that the afro gives Luffy extra power. While donning the afro, Luffy also donned boxing shorts, boxing gloves, some types of straps on his feet, and had a temporary tattoo of a flaming skull and crossbones on his chest. While wearing the afro, Luffy also tends to say things such as, "Hell yeah!" Although only Nami and possibly Zoro think it doesn't help anything. The others say because of the afro is how he gets more powerful, but they might be joking or just playing along. Situational forms, Nightmare Luffy. Before his fight against Gecko Moria and Oars during the Thriller Bark arc, the Rolling Pirates helped Luffy become temporarily stronger by infusing him with the power of 100 shadows that were separated from their owners by Moria's use of the Kage no Mi. This enabled Luffy to become a Nightmare Luffy. With Luffy's strong spirit, he was able to contain 100 shadows within him when most normal people could only contain 2 or 3. In this form, Luffy was several times bigger than his normal self, and his skin turned completely blue. He was roughly the same size as Moria, and his body was similar to Chopper's post-time skip Heavy Point. Luffy also talked differently, losing his usual carefree tone and instead speaking with a grim seriousness. As Luffy possesses the Gomu Gomu no Mi, he's made of rubber and is thus able to stretch his fists to increase his range and attack momentum. By being further augmented by the 100 shadows, all of his normal techniques are further increased, enough to topple even Oars. While in this form, Luffy was capable of using the combined strength and skills of the shadows within him. With strength, Luffy is even capable of stopping a giant Gomu Gomu no rifle attack delivered by Oars with one hand, and delivering massive attacks onto the zombie behemoth. Because one of the shadows belonged to a swordsman, Luffy also gained the ability of fighting with swords, something he never knew before. He also appears to be able to move at an incredible speed, having safely snatched up both Nami and Usopp away from the rampaging Oars, and it was only when Luffy made his presence known did Oars and Moria learn about it. In Unlimited Cruise, Nightmare Luffy also demonstrated archery skills and could shoot fireballs from his mouth after drinking sake. This form, however, only lasted for 10 minutes. After that, all of the shadows within Luffy returned to their original owners. And lastly, weapons. Luffy has rarely used standard weapons due to his inexperience and inability to use them. During his childhood, he wielded a metal pipe. At Arlong Park, Luffy briefly tried to fight Arlong with swords and briefly attempted to use Arlong's teeth. At Wano Country, he borrowed the cursed sword and Meito Nirat Kitetsu, though it was mainly used as a prop for his disguise. Luffy has made use of some non-standard weapons, though it was mainly due to the situation. On a few occasions, he made use of the hard as steel wax created by Galdino's ability as a type of armor. Enel also once shackled him with a giant golden ball, which he effectively used as a weapon. Furthermore, in his second battle against Crocodile, Luffy briefly used a barrel of water with a pump to help counter the Warlord's Sunasuna no Mi ability. Well, that's about it. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching, Adrian out.